With the Gate 27, we learned about protecting the tribe and the most vulnerable members who need care and nourishment the most, and that it's important to care for the children with the hopes that they will one day contribute to the tribe and carry on their genetic material to future generations. It's all about finding balance between allowing others to grow and to flourish, but also to protect them when they are helpless and defenseless. And when the balance is found, the energy of the Gate 27 can do exactly what it is meant to, care until it's time to let go, because it's all about allowing the cycle of life to continue. When the Gate 24 enters, we look for transformation and renewal and the answers to questions that cycle in our minds over and again. The search here is always about finding silence within the mind and to somehow relieve the pressure that pushes for resolution. Yet if we can see that the universe is always there to serve us and give us the answers that we want, even if we don't see it in the moment, we can rest in the understanding that when the timing is right, the key to our thoughts will be revealed and silence can be ours to enjoy. Hi, this is Denise Matthew and welcome to episode 18 of the Mandala of Life, the Gate 24, called The Return and also the Gate of Rationalization. And if you haven't already, please make sure to check out previous episodes of the Mandala of Life, 365 Days to Self-Discovery. For now, let's move into new energy, one that's all about pondering, rationalizing, and searching for answers to questions that may or may not be answered. From the tribal energy of the Gate 27, we move back into individual energy that's all about the self, the I am, and discovering the answers to the questions in your life that matter the most. This is also the last gate of the quarter of initiation, where our purpose is fulfilled through the mind. The next quarter will be the quarter of civilization, where purpose is fulfilled through matter. By its nature, individual energy is acoustic, so it's by sound that the energy for mutation becomes possible. And what's important to remember is that when we hear, it's in waves, and so too is the mutation that has the potential to come out of the Gate 24. Since just like the waves of hearing, the pulse of individuality and the mutation that can come out of it can pulse on and off. Unlike logic and abstract energy, there's no pattern here, and for that reason it can make the energy more difficult to carry because we as a collective are always looking for patterns in life and searching the past for insight into our future. So without a pattern, you could say that there's no knowing until there's knowing, which means that the epiphany that comes in universal timing, and it's completely unrelated to human timing. While you're waiting for your epiphany, the mind continues to feel pressure to find answers that you seek, which can be taxing when there's no timeline to find resolution. So this can feel like an echo that repeats within your psyche. For this reason, there can be a longing for silence, for your mind to be still and to stop repeating the same old broken record. And like with all individual energy, there's potential for melancholy to come out of this gate. Here, it's all about the melancholy that comes out of the concepts that you may never find silence in your mind. The key to individual energy is that there is always some level of melancholy contained within it, and understanding that this is just part of your normal process. And it's not something that needs to be fixed, but instead it's all about directing the flow of your melancholy in a direction that works for you. Creativity and focusing your energy into something that you like doing can help to work through the melancholy, because just like all things in life, melancholy comes and it goes. It's only really when we hyper-focus on discovering a reason for its presence that there can be a potential for temporary blues to become something that stays longer and becomes more serious. Activities where you need to be in the present moment, the kind that don't allow you to ponder, can help you relieve the pressure and also pull you out of your mind space for a little while so you can have a mental break. It's all about activities that you enjoy, the kind that make you disconnect from the mind and fully focus on what you're doing. Things like physical activities, baking, cooking, art of any kind, even bird watching can give you some level of peace. It's all about finding what works best for you, because the truth is every aspect of life has creative potential built within it, and it's all about you finding your own personal creative expression. Since the Gate 24 is part of the Ajna and Awareness Center, like all awareness centers, there's potential for fear within this energy, or what's called anxiety. Here the anxiety speaks to the discomfort about not having the answers that you think you need. And if you don't have the answers that you want or need, you might not feel as if you're prepared for the future. And another component of this anxiety may be that even if you do somehow get the answers that you're searching for, people may not be ready to hear what you have to say. Sometimes it can get to the point where you attempt to fool your anxiety with an answer or a rationale that you create, or what might be considered an illusion. And there could even be a desire that this illusion that you've created will somehow become real. And it can also give you this artificial resolution, even if you actually haven't had a resolution, because it's all an attempt for you to relieve the pressure to know. And this can make your anxiety worse because you get to the point where you're trying so hard to make your illusion real, and you're also worried that everybody else is going to discover the truth and that you just made it up. The key here is all about timing and understanding that many times when you let go, the answers that you seek and the resolution that you're searching for just comes to you. And another important component of this energy, since it's part of the channel 6124, which is called the channel of the thinker, is that it's a projected energy, or it needs to have an invitation and an opportunity for you to express yourself in a way that others will listen the way you want them to. In other words, when you get an invitation, it allows you the access to the aura of others who invited you, which can in turn open them up so that they're ready to take in what you have to say in the best possible way. And one more thing to keep in mind is that when you get locked in a mind spin, there are 3 important questions to ask yourself that have a lot of power to stop the echo. What's worth knowing? What's not worth knowing? And what can never be known? When you understand the differences between these questions, it can lead to the pressure of your mind releasing, and eventually there's potential to find that long-awaited moment of silence. The gate 24 can also sometimes be called the sunshine gate, where there can be this need to only have happy times in your life and to actively ignore anything that can bring you down, no matter what it is. And while it's good to have happy times, sometimes that isn't the case. Because the truth of life is that there's always going to be ups and downs in the process of being human, or what might be considered oscillations between the two. In reality, there's never a way to stay on one side of the spectrum forever. And when you're trying to only stay on the high side of life, you might search for ways to feel good in life at all costs, to glide over the struggles of being human by any means that you can. This can show up by finding ways to help perpetuate the highs in your life. It can be done by drugs, alcohol, sex, food, spiritual bypassing, and many other ways. Whatever the activity is, it can eventually lead to some form of addiction. And if we circle back to the need to mute the mind and the pressure, it's just one more added reason to slip into some level of addictive behavior. While self-soothing is good, when we use activities to soothe ourselves that can lead to potential health consequences, then that's when addiction can take on a much more sinister cast. As with all things in life, finding balance in our lives is key to navigating all parts of where we find ourselves. And that remembering that despite the ups and downs of life, when we find a healthy expression of our talent and creativity, whatever that looks like, it can allow us to experience moments of peace and silence within our mind when we allow ourselves to be in our creative flow. And even though it might be a difficult feat, if you allow the universe to take care of you, to give you the answers in divine timing, without expectation, and with patience to know that when the timing is right, the answers will be given, it will help you with your anxiety, and eventually the epiphanies will come, and you'll find the silence that you've been searching for all the while. From a bigger perspective, we can talk to the transit of the planet Pluto through the Gate 61 for most of 2020 and 2021. The Gate 61 is the fuel and pressure for the awareness of the Gate 24. So the past and ongoing transit may definitely have played into an added pressure for humanity for 2020, and also the potential for an increase in addictive behavior and also mental fog. The human design theory is that because Pluto moves so slowly, actually 256 years for a full revolution around the mandala of life, when Pluto transits through a gate, it completely transforms the energy. So that's something that we can look forward to as a transit completes. Because on a positive note, Pluto is exalted in the gate 61, line 6. So as it spends the last bit of time within that energy before moving on, it has a potential to make a positive shift in the energy, which will interact and possibly raise the expression of the gate 24 in the process. The gate 61-6 is called appeal. And as Ra Uru Hu said, talks to the profound attunement to the collectivity that can lure the public to a truth. It speaks to inspiration that can bring awareness to the collective. And this particular theme feeds into the 2027 theme that talks to the 6-line profile beings, and that they will have some level of flowering in some way, that their time for observation and watching the world from atop of the proverbial mountain will have come to an end. And then it'll be about the 6-line role models being called out into action to work shoulder to shoulder with the collective, to herald in a new inspiration and mutation that will potentially attune and bring new truths to humanity. And once again, the mandala of life turns, and we see that though the gate 24 has a potential to bring a mutation into the collective, resting in the concept that if you release your hold on the need to know, the universe will bring the answers that you seek in right timing, and that though we may enjoy the easy parts of life, attempting to mute the struggles of being human can be a recipe that will eventually fail. The key is seeing that life is all about ebbs and flows, interspersed with moments of epiphanies that can bring silence that we are searching for. And after the silence comes, a new cycle and new inspiration will begin and form anew. And when we've found silence, inspiration, and answer to universal truths, the gate 2 steps in to move us toward a different part of individuality, one that speaks to our destiny, our higher self, and life purpose, where if we allow it to, our magnetic monopole will show us the way and place us exactly where we are meant to be, within the flow of life. Well, that's all for now, and I'll be back next week with another episode, The Gate 2, the gate of the direction of the self. Until then, take care, and I'll see you again soon.